Hey, how are you guys doing? I hope that you've all had a great week, especially leading up to Easter. By the time this comes out, I will be up in Raleigh with my family celebrating Easter, going out to some friends' houses, hanging out with some other family, um, and just going to church and doing everything that we normally do on Easter. I can't wait. And I hope that you guys all have a great Easter and that you had a great time leading up to Easter as well. This message today is specifically for Easter. Um, this is a message that I feel like God had really been speaking to me, telling me that it was time to release it on Easter. And I feel that it can be very applicable for a lot of different areas in our life. So I hope that you guys all enjoy it, and I will see you back next week. Bye. So I don't know about you guys, but I have recurring nightmares. And I'm going to share with you guys a little example of what that nightmare looks like in my life. But a lot of the times I feel as if the nightmares that I have, I can't run fast enough. So one of the nightmares, I'm in the woods, right? I'm in the woods, I'm in the forest, and I can't see what's around me. When I go into the dream, I know that I'm running to somewhere and from somewhere, but I don't know from what I'm running or what I'm running to. I have no clue. All I know is that there's something behind me, but every single time I look over my shoulder, I can't see it. Can't see it. And so then there's people running in front of me, and then every single time I feel like I'm trying to push harder and run faster, I just run that much slower, and these people are passing me, and they're screaming, and they're running. And then there's this black glob, which if any of you guys have played Pokemon before, it kind of looks like a floating demonic Ditto. I don't know if any of you guys play Pokemon. It kind of puts a nerd stamp on me, but that's okay. I love Pokemon. So running, and it's in this black, ghostly glob of black with eyes. All it's got is eyes. It doesn't have a limb, doesn't have a mouth, anything like that. Just eyes. And then it comes up beside me. Not behind me, not in front of me, but beside me. And then it feels as if it's run fast in order to catch up with me, but then it runs with me for about 5 seconds while I just look into its eyes. And I'm scared, but then it darts ahead again. And then that's when I wake up every time. Every time. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that, but a lot of the times, and from studies that have been done, one of the most popular, I don't even know if we should call it popular, one of the most often dreams that people have is that they can't run fast enough. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about fleeing in our life and why we flee. Now, in the full message that I did, I parallel two passages, one from 2 Kings 5, verses 10 through 14, and then also I parallel the New Testament story in Matthew 26, as well as in Matthew 28, about what happens there. Here, I will be focusing strictly on Matthew 26 and Matthew 28. So if you guys want to flip to Matthew 26, verses 55 and 56, I'm going to give us a little bit of context. This is after Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane as we speak. Judas has already betrayed Jesus, has already come up to him, give him the kiss on the cheek to signal to the Roman guards that Jesus is the person who they came to fight against, or not fight against, but to capture and to arrest and to take in order to be killed. And so verses 55 and 56 say, "At this hour, Jesus said to the crowds, 'Have you come out against a robber with swords and clubs to capture me? Day after day I sat in the temple teaching, and you did not seize me. But all this has taken place that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled.' Then all the disciples left him and fled." So I just want to point out a couple things here. Because Jesus starts out by talking to the people who've come to capture him. He's like, "Why are you capturing me now? I haven't changed. Why have you?" And I think a lot of the times when we come to situations in our life where we say, "God, why would you ever let that happen to me? God, why would you ever let that happen to that person? God, I can't believe that you took that person out of my life at the time that you let it happen. I just can't see how you could be the one who's orchestrating any of this. You must not even be real at all." And then you come before Christ, and Christ says, "Why have you changed? I haven't. I haven't changed. Why have you?" The next thing is that Jesus knew the purpose behind what was happening. He said that he did this in order that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. And he knew that the resurrection was going to happen, but the resurrection can only happen through death. So he knew that this was the step in order for him to take to bear the weight of the sins of the world and then come out victorious, come out over death, come out above the grave. Because with every resurrection, a death has to happen. We might be looking at this at the end of this passage and seeing how the disciples fled and go, well, you can't blame them. They didn't know. They didn't know that Christ was going to rise from the dead. We have the hindsight 2020 view, but guess what? They had the foresight 2020 view too, because Christ told them 3 times, told the disciples 3 times that he was going to die on this earth, but then he would rise 3 days later. Will you guys, and me included, run from the thing that God has put in our life in order to bring resurrection? We're running from the promise that God has put in our life. Now, if you guys want to flip with me to Matthew 28, I'm going to read verses 5 through 7. Now, if you guys know the Gospels, you know that Matthew, Luke, and John all end with the resurrection of Christ. And this is Matthew 28, which is the last chapter in the book of Matthew. And a lot of the times, the Gospels end with the resurrection. The only one that doesn't is Mark. And Mark does not record the resurrection. He records the death, but not the resurrection. Verses 5 through 7, Matthew 28. This is after Jesus has been hung on the cross, has died, has been wrapped in linens, has been beaten, has been bruised, has been cut, has said his final 7 statements on the cross, and he has come down from the cross, dead, buried, in a tomb. Roman soldiers put a stone in front of the tomb, which this usually doesn't happen, but I think it's funny because the same thing that the disciples fled from, the Romans knew. The Romans knew that there was rumors that Christ would rise after 3 days, so what they did was rolled a stone over the door and put Roman guards all around it to guard it for the 3 days after Jesus' death, so that there would be no escape from Jesus. Verses 5 through 7, this is after the 3rd day, after we know that the resurrection has happened, and Mary Magdalene goes to the tomb, and this is what happens. But the angel said to the woman, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has risen, as he said. Come see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples that he has risen from the dead, and behold, he is going before you to Galilee. There you will see him. See, I have told you." The thing that I want to really bring out here is when the angel tells Mary, as he said. Everything that is happening in our life is happening as Christ has said. Now, you might be looking at your life going, there's no possible way that Christ has this on my life. And you know what? Christ doesn't put everything on our life, but Christ is able to work all things for the benefit of his glory, for the benefit of your provision, the benefit of your promise that Christ has given you. And everything that is happening in your life is to achieve what God has already put in you. Things happen in this life as Christ has said. Not because he said it, but as he said. Not similar, as. I hope that you guys enjoyed this little message today. I know it's something that really spoke to me as well when I was preparing this. I just loved being able to go through the 2 texts and being able to parallel them and really see the connection that God was trying to call between them. And that, like I said, is in the full is in the full version. I just wanted to shorten it down to kind of the main points that I used from Matthew 26 and Matthew 28. I hope you guys all had a great week this past week, and that you're going to have a great week this week. I believe that it's going to happen. I will see you guys all next week.